Hey everyone, welcome to My Final Play. I'm here at Lycoming College with former Lycoming College quarterback Glenn Smith. Glenn, thanks for joining me today.
Brian, great to be here.
So we're going to get into the sport of football. It had a huge impact on your life. At what point did the game become introduced to you?
So, growing up, in the Smith household, football was always, a big passion. My dad had the opportunity to play for a season in college. He's a big Dallas Cowboy fan, so don't hold that against him. But, watching football games, going to Penn State games, that's just some of my earliest childhood memories. And I can remember wanting to play football, but my dad had a rule that, I wasn't going to play tackle or contact football until I got into junior high. And so junior high was really my first taste of, competitive scholastic football, contact football, and just kind of progressed from there. So I love the sport from an early age. Kind of that delayed process, I think, just kind of made me hungry for it, all the more. But then obviously got involved in junior high and started playing the position of quarterback right away. Went to Warrior Run High School, which isn't too far from here, and just had a great career there, and then ended up here at Lycoming.
So as far as the position of quarterback, was that always the goal? As a little boy watching the game growing up, it's either quarterback or receiver, right? So was quarterback always the number one choice?
Yeah, I think at first it was I wanted to play, and then I could throw. And that really just sort of developed in me. My dad can throw the football, and so we spent a lot of time. And from that moment where I thought I wanted to play quarterback, it was, hey, working on the mechanics, starting to do some of the little things, and developing the technique and the fundamentals. And yeah, absolutely. By the time I got to junior high, I knew that quarterback's what I wanted to play.
Right. So as far as the career in the high school level, what made it, one of those thoughts of playing at the next level? Kind of where did that all click?
Yeah, so starting in ninth grade, 3 games into my freshman season, I got brought up to be the starter on our varsity team. And, that's intimidating enough as a 15-year-old playing with, juniors and seniors in high school. But just having that experience, I think, kind of opened that thought process to me that I might be good enough to play at the next level. And then I just remember my dad, who's had a lot of, just influential conversations with me. He always just said, set your sights on getting to the next level. Doesn't matter what the next level is, but if you want to play at the next level, you need to do what's necessary to get there. You got to put in the work that's necessary to get to the next level. And that just kind of resounded with me. And then, by my sophomore year, I started receiving recruiting letters, and my junior year kind of took my parents up and down the East Coast on about 15 different, official and unofficial visits to a variety of different schools, a variety of different levels. And then lo and behold, I ended up, coming about a half hour away.
Yeah.
I knew that coming into college, I wanted to win football games. Mm-hmm. I wanted to play under a head coach and coaching staff that were going to be able to develop me in the best way possible. And I felt like I found that here at Lycoming.
Absolutely. Definitely some history with this program as well. So when you were here at the college, let's go through some of the accomplishments, kind of what would you say would be some of your most proudest moments playing at Lycoming?
So one of them playing at Lycoming, certainly two moments that really stand out for me. So my junior season, I had won the starting job, and we are we were 1-4 at the time, which is not what was expected of here. Mm-hmm. And Ithaca was coming in. They were ranked in the top 5 nationally. They were undefeated, and kind of the writing was on the wall that this was Ithaca's year to make a deep run into the NCAA playoffs. And normally, in the history of Lycoming, this would have been a big matchup, right? But it seemed like Lycoming was down a little bit. Ithaca's rolling. And we come in here, or they come in here to our place, and the long story short is we win that game 33-30 in overtime. And as a quarterback, sometimes you just have days where things just click. You just see the field so well, you can read the defense, and it's like on that particular day, I felt like I knew where I was going with the football before the football was even snapped on every play. I had done my homework. I knew what defenses they were going to try and do and their blitz schemes, and things just clicked. And we threw for 2 touchdown passes that day, threw for over 250 yards, ran for 70 yards and 2 scores, and the game winner in overtime. And for me, that was a highlight. Fast forward that same year, we're again playing here against Susquehanna, who's been our longtime rival.
Right.
And Coach Girardi has 249 wins.
Yeah.
And so he's going for this milestone marker of 250th victory,
Yeah.
his 250th victory. And again, that game gets taken into overtime, and I have the opportunity to score a touchdown on the game winner in overtime to seal Coach's his day in history.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty special.
Yeah, unreal. Definitely some cool things that have happened along the way. But like you said, you did your homework, you put the work in, and that led up to the final play. And you said previously that was at Susquehanna University. Go ahead and walk us through a little bit more in detail of what that looked like.
Yeah, so my final play was the fall of 2006. We were playing Susquehanna at Susquehanna. It's the last game of the season. And I just remember the things leading up to that day were very, we're kind of taking mental pictures.
Yeah.
I remember some of our teammates out in warm-ups and just some of the conversations that we had, knowing that the culmination of our career was going to end competitively on this day. And as college teammates, we spent 4 years kind of working to that, to that point in that moment. But the final play, so we were up by 2 scores at that point in the game, and I remember our offense was out on the field. We're getting late into the 4th quarter, and I ran over to Coach Girardi to get the play, and he just looks at me and he says, "Smitty, this is your last one. What do you want it to be?" And I don't know that I'd ever really played that moment out in my mind, like, oh, it's going to be a pass. I'm a quarterback, it's going to be a run. And I said, gee, I want a quarterback sneak. I want to be able to kind of take the snap from center, and I wanted to just kind of put all of the energy that I had left over in that day, which wasn't a lot, as I remember. And I just wanted to just drive and run as hard and as fast as I possibly could on the final play. And it was a quarterback sneak, so I think I got maybe 6 to 8 yards. It was a good quarterback sneak, And I remember getting tackled and laying on the turf, just feeling that emotion just kind of run out of me of like, it's over. And I came over, and G gave me a big hug, and I hugged some of my teammates and my coaches, and it was that moment of just feeling like everything had been left on the field, but also just starting to think about, boy, my football career is over.
Yeah, unreal. And it also goes back to kind of cementing what you were looking for in the recruiting process. You wanted somebody to just pour into you, and to have a coach of that stature give you the opportunity as your final play. It's pretty unreal as well.
No, I mean, one of the things when I look back over my football career that I appreciate now are the things that I learned. And while I was in high school and college, the things that I was learning, the disciplines, the hard work, the time management, the studying the game of football, hey, you're the starter, and in my college career, I had been the starter, I got benched, right, and I had a chance to earn that starting spot again. Some of those moments of adversity really played into shaping who I am, today as a husband, as a father, as a professional, and so the culmination of that career and those things being over, that was certainly momentous for that day, but it started to take me on that journey of what have I really learned being an athlete, and what does developing that work ethic and facing adversity and having the highest of highs and the lowest of lows and knowing how to kind of transcend those highs and lows to be the person and the player that I wanted to be. Taught me a lot about myself and really shaped my athletic experience.
Yeah, unreal. So as far as that transition then, from athlete to the professional, what did that look like, and what did the sports really, how did that help you into the transition of what you're doing today?
Yeah, I mean, so learning how to work hard. I mean, I think one of the best things about sports is, playing football can be difficult at times. Not just the physicality of it, but you can work really hard and not see the outcome that you want happen when you want it, right? And there's no specific recipe for if you're in the weight room this long, or if you're on the field, or if you make this many throws, you'll get to be the starter, right? I mean, and so that thought process of developing a work ethic to aspire to greatness, to be the best that I can be, there's also an element of taking out the selfishness aspect to it, that I'm doing all of this for myself,
Yeah.
and buying into the mentality that I'm doing this for the betterment of my team, right? I'm a member of a team, and so I'm trying to be my very best because I'd like to start, and I want to be on the field. But even if I'm not, there's value in me doing that.
Right.
And so translating that into the professional world, I'd like to think that I'm much less focused on myself and the teams that I've been a part of professionally.
Yeah.
How do we advance the mission of our organization? How do we advance the things that we're trying to do? Not because it makes me look good or anything like that, but rather because this is what the team's goal is, and this is how we're going to get there. So that's something I know just very specifically has impacted the way that I work. Family life, that certainly plays a part in it as well. I mean, we both have kids, and we're married, and kind of taking that as best we can, that selfish aspect. Don't get me wrong, I still like to go play golf and do some things for myself, but that's something that I really learned from my experience playing football.
Yeah.
That has kind of carried over professionally, personally for me.
Yeah, that team benefit can really take anything to the next level.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. As far as the identity, as you're going through the programs, both in high school and in college, if someone asks you, what are you? What do you do? What's your response?
So I know what my response is today.
Yeah.
When I was when I was playing football, football became my identity.
Right.
In sharing my story, just some different camps and different opportunities I've had to speak. I tell people my junior year here at Lycoming, I had an identity crisis.
Yeah.
My identity became who I was as an athlete, right? If my junior year of college, as selfish as it sounds, if you'd have said, Glenn, who are you?
Yeah.
I would have made the statement, well, I'm the starting quarterback at one of the Division III powerhouses in football. You haven't really heard of me, right? And I think God uses seasons of our life and different experiences to kind of shape us. And I had just some moments late in my junior year and my senior year of really having to self-search and say, hey, after that final play, my identity just goes away. My identity is solely in my sport, which I had concentrated and put so much work into. And so I began to kind of just re-evaluate, where football was in my life and what my identity was. And, here today, my identity is found in Christ, and who I am, as a child of God and as a follower of Jesus. And, playing football, God utilized some of my selfishness and just my ambitions and that work ethic to say, hey, we need to take this identity crisis and make sure that football is not your identity. Because if I put my identity in anything else, right, that goes away. And being in an athletics department and around some of our teams here at Lycoming, it can be injury, it can be, depending on some of our players and what they're studying in school. They may decide, hey, I need to shut down this athletic component so that I can focus on pre-med or, some of those different academic majors. And if you put your identity in that aspect of things, when that goes away, you kind of leaves you searching a little bit.
Right. So it's great that you also found that as well. So I definitely appreciate what you've provided as far as the content. I hope you guys did as well. Glenn's story is definitely one to take note of, and what it's taught you. It's great to pass that on to others as far as what you're doing at the program here today. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, please like and subscribe. And remember, whatever it is that you do today, approach it with the mindset of, is this my final play? Thanks again. Cool.